welcome.
I was so tempted to ignore that countdown.
Yeah. The not podcast, because we don't have enough time for a podcast. But it might as well be, because it's not much more than that.
Welcome back to Barrel Vision.
Yeah. We're here with some catch-up patch notes.
Catch up?
Yeah.
Patch up? That's like a name for a series.
Oh my god. Yeah, because we haven't got much else to talk about, and it's either this or nothing, so we thought we'll just do this.
Well, we had a good... I think I had a good idea for the podcast, but we actually don't really have enough time for it to be good enough. And it might be suited to a better time, as in a bit later on, once we've experienced certain things. Because obviously we're still stuck in sort of the purgatory that is being on console 1 to 2 weeks after a new update's been released. So we do have somewhat... Well, it's definitely an outside view, but I've been doing not as much as I can, but I've been doing a lot to sort of try and get a hold on, how people are feeling about everything. And there's been 3, patches or hot fixes since Season 3 launched. And obviously you can view these on Steam. It's pretty easy if you want to look at the really technical stuff, because we just want to pick up on the actual significant changes. I think, there's so many bug fixes that aren't interesting, and we just want to point out the major stuff, really.
EG fixed some misc crashes.
Oh yeah, fixed some misc crashes.
Talk about that.
That probably is significant in a way.
Yeah, it's just there's not much we can say about it other than good job, go shit for getting rid of it.
This was the first Season 3 patch, which was on the 4th. That was the next day, and it actually started off with a really significant one. Which was they reduced the possible max amount of contagion spikes in missions with lithophage warning from 4 to 3. And now I didn't know that it could go to 3. So this is, of course, the new warning that introduces a whole primary objective. And the fact that you could, to me, it was... In my head, I'd sort of decided, that's for, it would go from 3 down to 1 based on complexity. And I think it might do now. I can't actually say that for sure. But the fact that you could have 4 sounds a bit excessive.
I'm not sure if it's complexity. I think it might just be random. At least that's what I've heard.
Yeah, but you can't have 3 of those in, a minimum length egg hunt. You literally can't. That'll be most of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But I think generally that is a pretty positive. If anything, people don't think it's enough. Because... I don't know, or it just needs to be changed slightly. I know. I think Axis Chronos, he wanted there to still be 4, but it's just depending on how many players are there, which doesn't make much sense.
No, that can't really happen because it's based on that's not how mission generation works.
Yeah, but I think it is just the issue comes down to the amount of players there, because if you've got 2 or more players, the lithophage isn't that big of an issue, especially if it's not in an unterrible terrain. All of this is from what I've heard. We still haven't played it, but it seems like bringing it down to 3 is obviously going to help, but it's not really the main issue people have with it.
If we're going into realm of ideas, and I know we are sort of out of line for suggesting things, frankly, at the moment. But I think it's possible that the best idea would actually be just reduce it down to 1 and have it be because as far as I know, it does grow across the terrain, but I think no one's really brought that up, so it might not actually be a thing, or it's just not that significant. That's what I'd like to see. I would want it to feel like you're actually fighting the expansion of this disease, and you could have the rate of expansion be changed by player number. I think that would work. So
yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I think this is just definitely since it's day after launch, basically this is an immediate, everyone's like, oh good dear god, these lithophage is too big of a pain in the ass to do for us.
And if there's one
they immediately just did this.
If there's one thing that makes a lot of sense for them to do when it comes to the main content, I think lessening the load is probably a big lesson and something that they shouldn't be hesitant to do. And I don't think they are. And also, I haven't really heard any complaints about the enemies themselves either, which is a good thing. I've actually heard mostly good things about that. I don't know if Axis Chronos... Well, Axis Chronos 4.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah. I haven't heard any issue with them. Although it looks like in point extraction, enemy spawning, what is that? Fix the
Okay, yeah.
Wasn't it infinite enemies?
Yeah, it just resulted in constant waves, which I could be swarms or ambushes, but either way. Either
And
way.
it's a bit weird that their bug is in quotations on that one. Because I get that, you know, game has bugs in, but that's just weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, well, I mean, I heard people complaining about that, but also people who quite liked that, and it wouldn't work as a warning, but just a constant wave thing, you know, yeah, it would work for your you know, difficulty modifier idea, you know, with the sandwiches.
Yeah.
I think people should have the option to do something that just has constant waves. It would actually be, I mean, okay, maybe I should save that. I was about, okay, I'm going to save that idea, because this isn't for ideas. Fix the bug caused players who had started breach the core assignment for unlocking industrial sabotage to be locked into the assignment after changing to season 3. Wait, what?
So that is.
I thought you were locked into it anyway.
Well, if you haven't unlocked the industrial sabotage mission, I assume you can still do the deep dives then that now have it in, and I'm not sure. Would you have to then do it to actually complete your promotions? Because they're probably going to have them in now as well.
Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Start assignment breach the core for unlocking industrial sabotage mission. Oh, but that doesn't make a lot of sense, because that means that after season 3, like, it just added industrial sabotage to that assignment, right? And it just didn't know how to handle that. Which is a good idea, by the way, and I'm still really interested to see how this plays out. Like, particularly the lower complexity version of industrial sabotage. But yeah, at this point, if we're leaving the rivals behind, in a way, then and just incorporating them more naturally, not making it like a big deal of them because they're not pointing
that's
more.
the issue that
putting it in that assignment makes a lot of sense.
The issue is that it feels like they're putting the rivals behind us, which is the case, right? But with the inclusion of industrial sabotage to the normal pool, people are actually going to have to interact with robots far more than they ever did before.
Yeah, but that's because they don't want to remove them, and they never will. The robots will be around forever in some way. And I think industrial sabotage is the one thing they want to keep. And they just want to... They'll do whatever it takes, I think, to just make it feel like a acceptable, just normal part of the game.
The issue is, though, is I think it's a bit like once people have decided that they hate a game mode, there's not much you can do about it. I know it myself.
Yeah, just making it easier isn't actually going to do everything. Yeah,
there's still, and especially since it's so heavily robot tied, that people don't have an issue with. I mean, people have an issue with a lot of it, but you know, I think it's rewards as well. Really, people, I think I've heard it's just not rewarding enough to do like a normal mission. Like it's just.
But they have alleviated it further, and we'll get to that. I think that was.
All right.
I can't remember.
There's not much left here.
Not much that's important. The lift page warning, description, translation, fix the crash related to cooking grenades. I love that introduced the crash straight away. Like, what happened?
You cock the grenade, hold it for too long, and the game crashes. It fucking breaks your games.
Fix the crash related to late joining, lift page warning, good. Missed crashes. Well, actually, we can ignore this known issues because that's actually the first thing from patch 2, which was on the 8th, so it's 4 days later. And as they say, they introduced this patch with the Great Mineral Rush has ended, and mineral spawns are now back to normal. Well, actually, if I go back down quickly, excessive amounts of mineral veins are spawned in caves. So I guess that was everything, because I heard people mainly talking about the Nitra, but based on those words, that's everything. They just had excess of everything, which is funny as hell.
That's something only PC players got to experience. the mineral rush. Yeah, they should do that though, like as an actual event during like a holiday, like a mineral rush, something like that.
Yeah,
that would be something.
Yeah, just do random shit all the time.
It wouldn't hurt.
And okay, so this is actually a weird one, this very first point, because it's just confusing. It's not big though. So added new plague meteor warning effect. That is literally just for like, I think the the visible effect of the warning, like where it shows where the meteor is going to come down. But people see the word warning in relation to Deep Rock, and what that makes them think. It makes them think of warnings, but obviously that's not what this is. And I thought, when I first saw it, I thought, hold on, are they doing something? Kind of wild. No. It's, especially with it being the first note as well. But either way,
that was already in there though. Like you had the whole red circle thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that not what this is?
I think it might not have actually been there because it's in gameplay, and I don't think I saw it. But then, but that wouldn't be new then. Still, if they just adding it back in from the trailer. Oh well, I don't know what we can't really tell what the difference is because. Extended the delay before player infection build-up begins to drop. Okay, so this is basically because people, I don't know if it was a complaint, but people pointed out that the actual getting infected yourself was pretty insignificant.
Right.
And I think they've taken a few steps. Maybe there was something in the next patch as well. So this is just trying to add on to make that a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah.
Same with the Praetorian, because apparently it didn't deal damage with its spit. I think the spit was just building up infection, to get you.
Yeah.
infected.
Well, we know how bad that is, right? Like Frost
Probably,
Praetorians,
the Frost Praetorian. I don't even know if that still. I don't even know if that actually deals damage. I know it inflicts cold now.
No, it doesn't do damage unless they kind of added that.
It should, by the way, if this guy does. Yeah. Which, okay, we sort of didn't really even register. I mean, they did add a new Praetorian, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Either way, that's just fixing outlines. Removed beer can from character selection screen. That doesn't seem very necessary.
No.
Added better collision to meteor top. Good.
So I guess people were freaking out on top of it, I guess.
Decreased priority of meteor cooldown rock cracker usable. What? Carryballs can no longer get stuck inside the usable collision.
These are a lot of things that probably should have been fine on launch, I imagine. Like these, I don't know. If you know what I mean. Like these feel like things that should have just been the case. And
I don't know.
Getting around to it now.
Maybe they didn't think about people wanting to climb on top of the meteors.
I think you know damn well that they would have thought about that.
Yeah, you literally just need to play test it as a scout, and you will do it.
Yeah.
Fixed maggots not animating.
How did they break that?
Yeah, I love this shit though. Like, how did that change? What affected the maggots? You know,
I'm thinking, have they ever been animated?
They move and they wiggle.
Do they wiggle? I just see them move.
Yeah, but there's like a little bit more to it than they don't just hover across the ground. There's a little bit more to it. And also, I think this, Tyler, when it says not animating, I think that means they weren't moving.
No, animating.
No, that would be not being animated. Not animating, that basically just means animation.
No, they were moving.
Yeah, but animation can refer to any kind of movement.
Yeah, the movement of the animation, not the movement of the character. As far as games are concerned, just because a character is animating like it's moving doesn't mean it is moving.
And also, just because Ghost Ship's wording indicates one thing does not mean it means that.
I suppose. Either way, the maggots were broken.
As in, Tyler, I think that's what this wording means, but I don't. You know, they're not English.
But yeah,
that's what I mean. Made the simple version of the industrial sabotage mission even more compact and simple, reducing mission time some more. So, I did mention this. They sort of tried to alleviate it even more. But that's for the low complexity version, it seems. So that would affect deep dives more than anything. That's the thing, because that's always going to be the simpler version.
It's a bit vague. Like what? The hacking pod is a bit like shorter, or the cave's a bit smaller.
Possibly that, but I mean,
Caretaker's a bit less health. Like
I know. Hacking pod like time definitely reduced. That's what they've just been doing most of the time.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
But once again, they need to just reward more. Is the main issue.
Yeah,
people have with
and
it.
you can also get the sort of larger one in assignments. So that needs to, what can they really do to the bigger one except for just
make it more rewarding.
I guess so.
It really has to just match the amount of effort you're putting into it, and then people won't have such a giant issue with it. Although people might still wait for it to be a not giant.
Exactly. But still, it should be proportional, I think.
Yeah.
Reduce max vertical spawning angle of contagion spike. Good. I guess it's all just normal fixes. Improved meteor spawning in escort missions. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really fucked with Doretta.
Not that it feels like it's directly fixed that. It says it's improved. Not fixed.
Fixed code counting missing minerals spawned in veins, always reporting 0 in shipping builds, resulting in the game trying to spawn in way too much missing minerals. So I assume this is the technical explanation for what happened. Why there were so many minerals. So what the hell does this mean? Shield tank / oppressor sound turned down a bit. What's the word shield tank? Is that just a nickname for the oppressor? Because either way, they added a new roar for the oppressor, basically.
Yeah.
And it sounds amazing. You know what? I'm going to try and find it. I wrote back because there was no clip of the oppressor's new sound effect to find. Burst pistol and assault rifle volume tweaks. Okay.
Oh shit.
Bosco can now carry Doretta's head again. This was a travesty when this happened. For some reason, Bosco couldn't carry Doretta's head, which was just.
I assume
the
that
worst thing
somehow
possible.
broke by them doing, I don't know.
I mean, they did
the new stuff.
Yeah, they
right?
touched Bosco. It's not like the maggots thing where you can't see how anything could have happened to the maggots. I can see why Bosco is getting more complicated.
Yeah.
So I can see other issues arising. But it is very specific. I actually saw a clip of someone being picked up by Bosco. Which I don't... whatever. Dwarf should no longer get stuck behind medbay biotank. Not a problem.
Nice.
I think there's a lot of places. There's probably more places in space where you can get stuck. And isn't that what the respawn function's for?
Pretty much, yeah.
So is this really an issue?
Well, yeah, because when you respawn in the medbay.
Lowered Ripper friendly fire collider radius, making it easier to dodge. Now that's interesting that's a separate hitbox.
They thought that would fix it.
No, the fact that there's a separate hitbox for friendly fire. That didn't need to be a thing. I didn't know. I thought it was inherent, and then you have to turn off the friendly fire damage.
It doesn't seem like damage as a whole will inherently do friendly fire, right?
I think friendly fire might be its own damage type. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Good.
Added fixed glowing light materials for DLC helmets. Okay.
I think that was the thing, yeah. I'm not sure what it means, but yeah.
Okay. Boomerang grenade. What? Don't worry about that.
It's a minor bug fix.
Don't worry about that. Fixed look of trail and movement when no target is found. Okay. Clients targeting stuff in the ceiling is now better. The fact that there was a difference between hosts and clients when targeting something on the ceiling is just bizarre. Ripper added an aim reticle. I mean...
That's probably nice.
Yeah, probably. Is it needed? I have no idea. Attempt to reduce lag when contagion spike is cleaned. Attempt.
We may see that again soon.
Fixed shellbacks killed while frozen will not play their death animation. Fair enough. Plague removal tools now also go away on terrain scanner when objective is complete. Fair enough. Fixed friendly shredders targeting dread twins while they're healing.
That's good.
Yeah, but hold on. But why is it actually relevant? Why would that affect the shredders, though? I mean, it's fine because I guess
Do
Yeah,
turrets shoot them while they're healing?
No, but the turrets have ammo.
Yeah. I know, but
I get it's just consistency. It's like it's not what they want. It's probably just a bit weird.
yeah.
It's a bit strange. Not intended, but not entirely detrimental. When playing with gamepad, aim assist no longer triggered by looking at rock pox. That's a bit weird. So by gamepad, do they mean? I think they mean controllers, right?
I think so, yeah.
And you would get aim assist when looking. Well, I don't even notice aim assist anyway. And a bug fixed where aim assist was triggered by enemies behind walls. See, I don't think I ever had that. Maybe it's not on console. Fixed that friendly shredder drones seem to fly to the host or existing shredder swarms even when far away from them. What? So they weren't targeting enemies? Is that what that means? Because otherwise, that doesn't sound too bad. Oh, I think this next thing actually kind of annoyed me. Added support for headwear to use the slim armor version to prevent clipping.
I think I heard this, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that this... So, see, what it should be is just a toggle. Objectively.
Yeah.
And it should be, you know, if it clips, it's up to the player, basically.
Yeah. Because, I saw a post on this thing, like, obviously next bit, make full play DLC headwear to use slim armor, which is kind of ridiculous.
DLC headwear should not affect the look of the DLC armor.
Yeah, they should be in perfect sync, right? But yeah, wearing the DLC headwear actually makes it look worse, I think.
But I think they're probably going to go back on that. It's the kind of thing they would, because if people didn't like it. Fixed weapon ammo displays not animating, so that's like on the weapon itself where they have the numbers and a little screen. Not that I've never... Well, you should fix that, but I've never used it. I know Snowing Fate uses that. He doesn't have his HUD on, basically. He doesn't have his ammo displayed. He uses the display on the weapon, which I just think is insane. Fixed meteor landed next to the drill dozer lander, preventing rock breaker attachment. Oh dear. Yeah, I suppose that is good.
I think the meteorite has probably added a lot more problems than it's... I mean, it hasn't really solved any. But
it sounds like it's just for escort duty, to be honest.
I guess, but yeah.
Its own problems, like collision and stuff, that's not huge, really. And they fixed that. Fixed bug where Robot Rebellion and Roughneck paint jobs didn't glow enough on the neon skin frameworks. Is that really a bug? Oh, that's just you didn't think they glowed enough.
They didn't glow enough.
Speaking of which, can we please change the colour of the Dark Future lights on the armour? Thank you. Because those two are meant to go together. That armour and that framework. Fixed unlocking the mil-spec framework for one weapon shows a permanent red exclamation mark for all weapons in the equivalent terminal.
That would kill me. I would die. I would actually just implode.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Fixed status effects blocking Dreadnought health bar. What does that mean?
God knows. It's best we don't. This is the positives of it being on Xbox, at least. You don't have to deal with any of this shit.
Yeah. Fixed escort director going back and forth bug. Well, there you go. That's to do with the meteor zone, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I don't know what debris lights are.
Probably
fixed the debris lights on plague areas. Great. Known issues. There is a 25% chance that the contagion spike UI will not appear on subsequent contagion spikes after clearing the first contagion spike in a mission. So this was that thing where its health bar didn't show up, right? I think
so, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Well, not very good. It's a known issue, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I do like that.
What?
That they add known issues at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But moving on. Oh, God, there's actually more on this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, overseas, a lot of miscellaneous stuff. So, patch 3, which was yesterday. No. What? Yeah, today. Today. Contains changes to how lithophage missions spawn, especially when doing assignment missions. Wow. attempt to fix Hive Guard not activating. Hold on. Is this just that thing where it doesn't move? Isn't that, like, old? Isn't that, like, a really old issue that they fixed?
I guess not. Or maybe he just doesn't, like, once you kill the Sentinels, he just doesn't activate. But we don't know. And it was an attempt, so they don't even know if it's going to work. So
yeah, fix dropping a fuel canister equipped to your previous weapon, not the one you had as you picked up the canister. That's weird. Sounds pretty meaningless, though. It's not hard to switch your weapon back. I don't know why it would do that. It's just bizarre. This is weird because they don't call it the stubby, they call them the electric SMG. And it's about the magazine didn't have, like, the skin applied. It was just the default all the time for some reason. Fixed scout flares has no gravity for clients. How does that even happen? So that means if you're, like, playing in someone, like, if you're not the host and you're playing a scout, then your flares will just fly forever. Is that what that means? Is that what it meant before? I think it does.
Well, I've seen flares just kind of float in air.
Oh.
So maybe that's what it's on about.
When, like, terrain gets removed around it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Mods, let's just ignore that. Fixed workaround for light function bug exposed by bullet grenade, whatever, good. Increased spring loader ripper light radius to make it easier to track. Oh, so it actually lights up a little bit.
Apparently, it always had.
That's good, I suppose, because sure, that's good. Fixed immortal cave leech.
There's only one singular. And he
just the one.
He just moves around to different people's caves. And what are they going to do?
Like Herobrine. No.
Yeah.
Great. Alright. Nonsense. This is big. Okay. Bosco will now seek out foam and clean it up automatically when he is in following mode.
Yeah.
Big up. Big up. Especially for me, the mainly solo player. And I'd heard complaints about this. I feel like I almost can't see how this wouldn't, like, alleviate the main problem with solo for the FFH warning.
Yeah,
that's just that covers it, right?
Because it was an issue with, like, you ping it and he sucks up, like, a fuck all area around the ping, right? And it was really awkward. It was really terrible. But now you don't even have to ping it, and it will just.
I mean, there was a
suck it
later
all
point.
up.
You can tell him where to start if you want. You can tell him specific places to go. They've added that as well. Or he's just kept that, but he's now does it automatically too, which is just great. Yeah. Fixed promotion campaigns having a very high rate of lift phase warning. Go back on that. Put them in. Have it all be that.
I have heard complaints about the fixed promotion stuff.
Oh yeah, because they made it randomized.
Yeah, and because people would actually, like, sync up their mission assignments to then do them all together, and now obviously you can't do that because it's random. Although I will never not be on the hill where I am glad it's not random, so I can finally stop doing fucking escort duties every fucking assignment for driller. So
I also have a really weird take on, like, assignments and, like, playing as a group, but maybe that I could save that actually. Basically, I have a really hot take, I think. And you'll probably disagree.
I see.
Actually, it doesn't need to be a hot take for you to disagree with me.
Thank you.
Fixed music from DLC videos continuing. Oh, whatever. Fixed Bosco tutorial hint appearing after player joined game. Fair enough. Fixed issues when telling Bosco to clean foam from far away. Good. Lead burster can no longer get stuck and deployed on enemies. Go back on that. I want to stick it to enemies. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Come on. What?
And it's not like it was a glitch either. They just seem like they've just gone back on it. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, what would be, like, the best enemy to stick it to? Just any tanky enemy, really. But
I'm not sure, like, gameplay wise, but I'd just love to throw it in, like, the middle of an oppressor's face and just have him just kind of spray bullets out of his, like, forehead. I think that'd be funny.
Makes the oppressor more dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it did create issues, though. I don't know. Either way, a Quarks is now marked as an important location within 2 meter radius. And I think they did specifically because they mention it. It should help with plague covering the Quarks, making them hard to find.
Right.
The thing about that is, I heard that it actually made them impossible to get though. If they're in they can spawn inside the plague stuff.
What? Can you not mine the plague stuff?
I don't think so. Maybe you can after it's done though. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Either way, that's pretty cool though for the Quarks. I don't think it. Like I said, I don't think it has a voice line. I think it's just the ping effect, and it will show up on the map if you're within 2 meters.
It is kind of a fact though that obviously the meteorite is having a lot of issues with the escort duty, but the actual warning is having a lot of issues with point extraction. With
I can just imagine it being. I think it will be a pain on point extraction.
Point extraction is already a pretty time limiting thing, right? You have to do it within a short amount of time, and you're going to be punished pretty hard. But now you have 2 objectives to do in just a short amount of time, so you are likely to go over time and have to deal with some ungodly swarms while doing the other stuff.
Sounds pretty cool, to be honest.
Maybe
we need that level of challenge sometimes.
Maybe, or it shouldn't be. I don't know. I think there's a balance. Well, I think I don't know if they can, but they should just have rockpox infested warning should slow down the spawn rate from normal enemies in point extraction. I'm not sure if that is already the case, but I don't know. If that isn't the case, that should be how it is at least. Otherwise, there's a bit of issue more than just the quarks not being able to be seen.
Okay. Fixed unable to shoot when holding Shift W. Not really sure what those buttons do, so we can't really comment on that. We can't. Fixed Bosco's rocket upgrades not working. Good. Fixed Bosco rocket cooldown reduction upgrade, making the recharge time longer instead of shorter. What?
They really fucked Bosco.
Oh dear. Oh, Bosco. Fixed dwarves no longer saying a voice line when calling for Bosco to fire a rocket. Good. Fixed Bosco not be able to carry plague hearts. Good. They should infect him though.
Yeah.
Point distraction Minehead now prioritizes positions that are not close to important locations. I didn't know that was possible because I thought all of those other things that could be important locations wouldn't spawn where the Minehead could be.
Now prioritize positions that are not close to important locations. So the Minehead
it was always just in the center, and the other things would spawn away from it.
The Minehead now actively spawns away from a quarks. That's what I'm reading.
No, I think this might be contagion spikes.
Quarks are now marked as important locations. That's literally something that we just read, and they are saying that they are spawning that are not close to important locations. Do you not think that's a bit of coincidence?
No, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So yeah, which I guess that's because this also implies that now the Mineheads are a bit more random, which I think would help with the generation, because not only was the generation limited, but the Minehead was always in the same place, so it felt even more so. So maybe if it isn't that anymore, but they also don't want it to be incredibly near a quarks, this is how they go about doing it. I don't know, but yeah, so there's something's going on there. There's scheming.
Something's going on. Fixed bullet hell ricochets not getting the damage bonus from variable chamber pressure. Yeah, not really the bullet hell buff that we needed, but I guess still a good thing. Actually, you know what? It's not. I don't think it is a good thing, because it's them just fixing it, but ignoring the fact that it needs to be buffed.
Yeah.
Fixed ricochet sometimes choosing to ricochet towards the original target, causing bullets to fly in not so helpful directions. Well, that's fantastic. I don't know if that's been a thing for a while, because if it has, that could be an indirect buff to any ricochet mod. Either way, that sounds pretty funny. Fixed bug causing lead burster to occasionally deploy when hitting enemies. Is that not what we had earlier?
Well, that's it gets stuck in enemies, and then it detonates, or it does its thing.
Yeah.
But this seems like it's going to do its thing before it even actually lands on the floor. It will just start.
It has to hit it because they want it to just be on the floor, I guess.
Yeah, and they want it to take like a second or so to like gear up and then start spraying. And this apparently screws around with that, I guess, right? It just, yeah. I don't know.
Fixed that resupply can land on top of fuel pod in salvage missions. Hold on. What? What the? What? How does that even happen? Because the fuel pod...
You'd have to put it there.
Can you not? How would they stop you from putting a resupply there? So you can't call one in on top of it?
No.
That's fine.
Or in it or something, I don't know.
But surely you can call one down on the ground where it's going to land. Like, how can they get rid of that?
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
whatever. Doesn't sound important, really. Doesn't. Fixed crash when joining game related to Boomerang. How did joining with a Boomerang make your game crash? Okay. Big collide when biotanks. I'm not sure exactly what the biotanks are.
They're the things in the hub.
In the hub.
They're the things that people get stuck on.
Oh, well, yeah, it's fair enough then. Play clean effect optimizations, I assume for performance. Fixed driller's primary weapons doing too little damage to the caretaker. They were doing a bugged amount of decreased damage. What?
Either that or they were doing about as much as they should do, but they just felt it was a bit unfair.
Yeah. First person bonus, that's not important. Yeah, okay, this is the thing. Bosco now starts cleaning close to where you pinged when ordering him to clean foam, so you can sort of be a bit more direct. Still, if you want. Yeah, there we go. For the Boomerang, greatly increased range and velocity, which should help it in some way. But maybe it needs more aggressive buffs, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a case to be made that they decided to give him a direct damage grenade, but they decided to also not go all the way because it's still scout, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. It just seems like it does everything worse than all the other options, really.
Yeah, it's already kind of, it goes against scout, so you might as well just give it a good amount of damage.
Yeah.
You know?
There's going to be a lot of tinkering to that thing, I can see in the future.
Dead Burster, lines to catch faraway enemies were not starting further away. I don't know exactly what that means.
I think it probably is like, I don't know. It seems like the lead burster has like a range, but maybe it's not a solid one. Maybe it will just like the bullets have a range, but if the enemy is further away than where the bullets normally would be, they just spawn the bullets further away, so then they reach farther.
That's good.
Or some shit like that.
Made Bosco moddable for multiplayer. That sounds fun. You know, it's not. You know, it's modding, but it's not too
maybe
technical.
Maybe some modders can actually fix Bosco.
Fixed flares expire when solo game is paused. Yeah, that sounds good, actually. Fix some cases where slim armor was chosen when wearing headwear that hid most facial hair. Is that including the new DLC? Probably.
Maybe not. There was a thing where, you know that, I think it's Dark Future helmet, the full face one, like the flat top. That one
quite
removed.
Compact.
Yeah, that one removed the like chest piece, where I guess made it into slim armor. Yeah, and that one didn't look good.
Improved. Oh shit! Wait, hold on. Adjusted lithophage warning probability on mission map ensured that all biomes in the infection zone had at least one lithophage warning. So this is the wording here is a bit odd to me because I think it's overall actually a reduction in the frequency. But not so that there can't be one. I think the point is that there'll be at least one, but there's actually going to be less overall. Even though they didn't say that, because there's no way the adjustment is adding more. That's all I'm saying. And I think it just says changes to how lithophage missions spawn. It's really weird. They're not being like, oh, we reduced the amount, but they changed things.
Yeah.
It must be a little bit less, though. It must be. Because they wouldn't get away with adding more. Axis Chronos would go to Ghost Ship Games personally and just beat them all up, I think. Improved Haxi landing locations a bit, reducing the chance of him landing too far away. I mean, that's good, but I thought that was one of the big points for like making Industrial Sabotage better.
Oh yeah, always.
Like, at the beginning.
It sounds like they're trying to just bring it closer to the pods, which is, I guess, another way of speeding it up, right? Like,
make it less tedious overall. Yeah. Adjustments to meteor spawn can no longer spawn during machine events. Yeah, probably a good thing.
Yeah.
yeah. That just makes sense because I don't know if that really confirms what I thought or confirms anything about the meteors, but I guess they are quite random, especially considering you can get 2 in one mission. I assumed that they were very much predetermined, but
although it doesn't seem time-based, apparently. Like, that's not a thing. Like, if you wait around in a mission for like an hour, you're not gonna get a meteorite or something, right? Like,
I thought it might have been something like that. It's not. Okay.
It needs to be something that is strucken from. No rumors should be allowed of that, because we don't want greenbeards or like just standing around for like hours expecting a meteorite to fall. Like, that's not how it works.
That wouldn't be efficient anyway.
Yeah, but they don't care about efficiency. They just want a meteor, but there won't be a meteor, so they'll just waste their time.
Ripper grenade friendly fire is reduced to 70%. Which is, I guess it's good because it was doing a lot, but that's only because it was higher than 100% originally. Which it was 110%. That was a decision. That was you kind of need to understand that was a decision.
And a good one that it was.
Yeah, well, fun one.
I'm sad they backed down.
Leadburster just fixed a bunch of stuff. Reduced extreme damage variance and unnecessary damage. Bullets now originate from closer to the grenade. Oh, is that gonna like hurt the shield thing? Probably.
The range, probably. Yeah.
Base damage reduced slightly. I think that's fine. It seems to do a lot of damage. Shots at longer range now deal slightly less damage. Shot damage increased at short range though, which I think is good. I think that's more what they want it to be. I don't think they want it to be hyper long range. Friendly fire damage reduced. Good. I hope that includes self damage. Known issues. Stun Sweeper doesn't always prioritize a looked at enemy. Okay. Good. Fix it. Bosco can be somewhat unreliable cleaning rock pox. Well, like I said, I don't see how they can't have alleviated most of the issues there just by making him be automatic. Because before making him automatic, there was no reliability whatsoever.
I think that's the issue with what they're doing recently, and I feel like this is probably going to go into too much, so I'll keep it brief.
Well, yeah, we're done with the notes, so
they're getting really ambitious, and it's just presenting so many issues constantly, right? Like obviously, I mean, last season the robots and all that, and the game mode that they couldn't even include in the normal pool, that kind of stuff, and now we have a meteorite that fucks with the game mode. Sometimes will only spawn, or they had to make sure it doesn't spawn during machine events. Will sometimes spawn after the button's pressed. Like, that's just a lot more issues than it's probably worth, realistically. Considering the fact that it's a meteorite landing, let's be realistic, is a gimmick, right? Like, it's essentially just like a hacking thing where you have to connect 2 things to it and keep them alive. And that gimmick has added a ton of issues for actually being in the game. And I feel like it's the same with all these other things. Like that foam covering, it's just introduced so many issues for solo players with Bosco. And it's just, I don't know. These feel slightly it feels like they're doing it just because they can and not whether or not they should at this point. I mean, obviously, I'll actually have a better opinion once I've played it, but that's just the impression I'm beginning to get for this season. Like, they think, oh, we can do this cleaning game, and that'll be a thing. But then, people come to play it, and then they realize that maybe they shouldn't have done that. It's a cool idea, cool concept, and it's an okay execution, but it still doesn't sit right with most people. I think is the feeling I've got. Like, I don't know, it's interesting. I think this is for a longer video. For a different day.
That's why I'm not like responding.
Yeah, don't bite. Yeah,
I'm not.
It's just I just want to get it out now.
But the seasonal model is ineffective.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there needs to be an actual serious discussion about the future of this game, not just between us, but between the entire community. Because as they've kind of stated, although they haven't really mentioned it recently, seasons aren't like definite. They're an experiment, right? They can still stop doing seasons. So if we stop allowing
Tyler,
they will stop.
You need to stop. Because I was about to bite.
Yeah, exactly. And this
is filling in for a podcast, and we can, the video's over. The patch note stuff is over. Thanks for watching.
We'll probably pick up these pieces in like a podcast in like a couple of weeks' time.
Well, because like next week we're going to be doing the podcast on Friday, which will be our first impressions.
We'll be doing
and we don't know exactly
this
how
time next week.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll be saying a lot of things during that stream. There'll be plenty of discussion, and then who knows where the actual post discussion will go. I mean, we might actually end up recording it on the day. That might be a better idea, potentially.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Maybe if we record it, we should still probably release it Friday though. But
yeah, absolutely. But either way.
Yeah, but
it might end up in this kind of discussion anyway. Who knows?
Yeah, I think an in-depth discussion on the future of this game and the questionable choices they've been making, like. I don't know. It's like when we watched the trailer, it was like, oh my god, all of this is so cool. I'm so hyped. But then when it comes to actually playing the game, people aren't having that much fun with the content they're adding, right? Like the meteorite is fucked with escort duty. The actual contagion spikes are more annoying than anything, especially for solo players. And it is kind of skating a line between being a less fun game than it used to be. And I think if that's something the community can agree on, then there will be change.
If I want to address that just very briefly, I think one of the things that they really need to do, and if it's based on technical limitations, they need to find a workaround then, that they need more biomes open, just more missions available.
Yeah, that was definitely a point. I saw it in
half of the biomes are infected.
Yeah, and obviously, like more than that are not even available, right? like. So you got like
more than there's more unavailable ones than there are available ones that aren't infected.
Yeah, I think, and I don't see why they can't just add. As long as there's enough players to support having more things there, it should be fine, right? Like that's the only thing I can see that it's probably like a server issue or a server limitation they put in place, that they only have to render so many different types of maps at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Then you need to find a workaround where maybe it's only one biome infected per rotation, which would be fine, but like every mission is infected, which would make more sense, frankly.
I'm thinking they should just bring it back to how it used to be, obviously with the new biomes though, and it be 2 maps not in rotation. That should just be how it is. I think 2 maps was a fine amount back then, and just because they added 2 more maps doesn't mean they had to get rid of 2 more, right? That math doesn't add up. 3 more would have been okay, sure, but they went for another one, and it's resulted in an already lacking experience, and now they've halved it technically, and it's just. This is for a different day.
Yeah, I mean, this won't be an hour long, but I don't want it to be 50 minutes long either. So, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to, I can't say it. Make sure to rock and stone. And by rock and stone, we mean like and subscribe. And, yeah, thank you guys. See you next time. See you tomorrow. Mwah. Say goodbye, Tyler.
Goodbye, Tyler.
Yeah.